Blind Faith Live, real people, real miracles. I'm Philip Keller. On Sundays, we go into the archives for Issam's Insight. Remember, Tuesdays, we have complete new episodes of Miracle Moments in Issam's Insights. This is the one where we get into what happens at age 5. Something happens because there are so many stories of kids who are like 4 and 5 years old that have these heavenly experiences like Colton Burpo, Heaven is for Real, or Akiana Kumaric, how she saw the face of Jesus, ended up painting the picture that apparently looks exactly like Jesus. So what happens about that time? That's all in this Issam's Insights on Blind Faith Live. Real people, real miracles.
Here, being a small child, you are providing the care. You know, they don't have to worry about providing for themselves and all of that. I mean, those things do accumulate. In a sense, they blind us to the spiritual world. Not only this, look at the example of St. Paul. When did he realize that he was like God predestined him from his mother's womb? After he surrendered himself totally to Jesus and became less worldly. So everything we retain in our we are spiritual beings. There is nothing lost when it comes to the memory. So when you turn more spiritual, those things could come forth. You could really start remembering what you forgot during your early age.
You mentioned at age 5 we start developing amnesia. Amnesia of what? What are we forgetting? We
forget about the experiences that we had during the early years.
The spiritual ones, that when we're still kind of connected to God.
Exactly, and that's the thing that is so beautiful, and yet it is a puzzle for everybody. When we fast, let's say, and I think every single one of us recognizes that. You fast, you abstain from things that pertain to our physical being, you feel more spiritual. You see? And those children, they don't have any things that could focus them on their ego per se. I mean, progressively we become more and more self-centered. In a sense, you develop your own identity, with the physical experiences. But it's a beautiful thing to look at and be inspired by.
There was something that it was interesting, in both kids. They were totally in the spiritual realm when these experiences were happening. One was undergoing surgery. The other one, she can't remember whether she was awake or asleep, and just these things, these visions, these faces kept coming to her. The face of Jesus kept coming to her. The other thing that, let's go to Colton Burpo. He was talking about what amazed his dad was. He's there in heaven. He's in the throne room. He's talking about how big God is. Jesus sitting to the right and Gabriel to the left. Does that sound about right, by the way? Gabriel sitting to the left?
Yeah. Well,
does that seat change occasionally?
Yeah, Okay.
That's the way he saw it. He saw Gabriel to the left.
Yeah.
But one of the things he said, they had to go get me a chair, Dad. They didn't have a chair small enough for me. They had to go get me a chair. A very physical thing happened in his spiritual setting. Was that totally spiritual, or is there a physical realm to what he experienced in heaven?
Yeah, the existence there, it has its own manifestation. There are so many dimensions, dimensions that are for us spiritual, and yet over there is a manifestation. There is a materialization of the spirit too. So the existence is on many, many levels, but it's physical in nature.
So he was experiencing a physical manifestation there. That really was a chair that needed to be brought to him.
Exactly. Otherwise, it would be darkness.
It was interesting too in Akiana's experience, at age 4, she was shown what she would be doing at age 7, which was painting. And at that point, she didn't have any materials yet. She hadn't started doing the drawing yet. She didn't pick up paint until she was 6, when her parents started making sure that she was able to do what she was envisioning. We've talked before about how God will tell you what you need to be doing if you're paying attention. In her case, at age 4, once again, there was that, here's what you're going to be doing. She saw herself at age 7 doing the painting.
Yeah, exactly. Those things are revealed beforehand.
Yeah.
A lot of things actually were revealed to me. I was a very young kid.
Yeah.
Saw the visions of it, and it did materialize.
Yeah.
Years and years after. There is another thing that is of interest, especially when we are talking about that kind of a subject. I don't have to go to heaven in order for me to experience heaven. I don't have to have near-death experience in order for me to see Jesus. This it explains a lot when it comes to that state of mind. When you dissociate yourself from the world, your mind switches to its original spiritual consciousness, and then you experience we are incredible beings. We are not limited to our dimension, let's say. So and that's the heart of Christianity, actually. The indwelling of God, and here your perception would be unlimited. I mean, how many times visionaries will be seeing, and the people standing by, they see nothing. So the whole thing is about our mind and about our focus. That's why we always talk about that duality that we have. So the original and the source is the spiritual part.
And another thing, and there's so many things to be learned from these kids' stories. One of them, for all those parents who have lost a child, miscarried a child, aborted a child, that child is alive and well and living in heaven right now. The young boy seeing his older sister he didn't know he had, who had been miscarried, and he didn't even know the story. And this girl comes up and starts hugging, and so when the mom says, well, what's her name? Well, you didn't give her a name. And the mom says, we didn't even know what sex she was. What a reassuring, beautiful way for God to tell us that those kids are in great shape right now.
Exactly. It tells us so much about our origin. We are spirits that come from God himself. Spirits, actually, they were with God even before the creation came into being.
Oh, I flashed on something. The painting itself, the Prince of Peace, which we have on the website in episode 39, who both you and the boy and Akiana all say this is the closest depiction of Jesus. Interesting that, and it's no surprise, and there's video on YouTube about this, when you overlay that over the shroud, guess what? The dimensions are exact once again. We're talking about the same human being here,
But yes, that's the way I saw him. Mm-hmm.
So when you saw the picture, it was like, that's him.
When I saw the picture, right away. I mean, I had no second thought whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. The movie's very nice about this. When the movie begins, Heaven is for Real. If you haven't read the book, you don't know what's about to happen here. But you see this very young girl painting. She's got her paintbrush, she's got the canvas, and she begins with the eyes. You see her painting an eye. And much is made about the eyes, and young Colton talking about how sparkly they were in this blue and green, and the father saying, a lot of people are saying it's a fraud because if you're Jewish, then it has to be dark eyes. And he's going, are you out of your mind? This is Jesus. All things are possible here, but beautiful, sparkling eyes.
Those people don't know what they are talking about, tell you the truth, when it comes to the color. And then Noah had blue eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's written.
Well, some people look for anything for this not to be real, but it's more God's breadcrumbs. I just love the fact that for those who just need a little more push, whether it's a shroud or these 2 4-year-olds, they're teaching us in this episode. These 2 4-year-olds and their families are teaching us in this episode that it's right there. God is making it as physical as possible. Akiana talks about how when she waited for 2 years for a model of Jesus, a physical model, a physical human being to show up so that she could kind of put that face on that person. And she got her parents down on their knees praying with her one day after 2 years. I need this. I need somebody. And the next day, this carpenter shows up at the door who has the perfect body, although he's about 7 feet tall, she said. But there was the face and there was the body and an answer to a prayer. I mean, there's just sign after sign about prayer and faith. And what, can God do any more? I mean, come on. You know?
He's doing a lot. I mean, look at what we are witnessing every day, every time we have healing services, how clear-cut His presence is. We have no excuses as Christians. When somebody tells me something about an event, the first thing that comes to my mind, I believe.
Thank you, Dr. Issam Nemeh, the physician of Unshakable Faith. Issam's insight on Blind Faith Live. Real people, real miracles.